good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you are tuning in to watch this video. I am Dr. Richie Forte with Vanillas Chiropractic, and we are excited to bring you your next rendition of our wellness workshop series, or our spinal workshop series. So we are getting to that point of the year where we've made up this new season, and we call it the flu season. And it usually happens somewhere around September, October every year. At the flu season, everybody loses their minds. Who's got the sniffles, who's sick, who's this, who's that. And we are going to talk about immune system function tonight and how that system works and why the flu season isn't really a flu season, but why when summer starts to shift towards fall, more people fall ill. So let's dive in. I'm excited that you're here. We're going to be here about somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes on our workshop tonight, because there's a lot that we need to unpack in the realm of immune system function. So let's dive into our workshop called Super Immunity. So what is the immune system? The immune system is a complex system in the body regulated by the nervous system that helps fend off foreign invaders in our body, whether that be an allergen, a bad bacteria, a virus, a wound, a toxin that we've taken and ingested, things of that nature. It's our body's army, okay, is our immune system. And our immune system needs to be fully fueled and ready to go at all times. It is constantly battling invaders and things going on. Now, did you know that your body is approximately made up of about 7 trillion cells? And in our body at any given time, there's usually somewhere around 34 to 36 trillion bacterial cells, 340 to 360 trillion viral cells just throughout our body at all times. Now, we live in homeostasis, and we need to have some of these bacteria for good, and some are not so ideal, but we need a balance throughout our body. So to completely eliminate your life and body of germs doesn't make any sense. We're just going to debunk that right off the top. But our immune system works simply to protect you. Now, if we're talking about an army, there are certain things we need to do for that army so it can perform when necessary. Number one, the army has to be significantly and fully nutrient dense or fed well. It needs to be trained. It needs to exercise. It needs to be very, very ready and very quick to adapt and change based on the environment that they're in. So that's what our immune system needs. It needs to be fueled, it needs to be exercised, and it needs to be readily able to adapt. So let's dive in and talk about it. What happens? Inflammation, sickness, and pain. It's this little kind of wheel or cycle that our body goes through. The first line of defense, or the first thing that happens when we have a foreign invader in our body, is inflammation. That area where they found that issue swells up. Okay, for example, you stub your toe. Your toe swells up. Ow, your toe hurts, right? So when we talk about inflammation and sickness, we're talking about some issue. And it could be a wound, it could be a bump or a bruise, but it also could be the flu, or food poisoning, or an infected ingrown hair, right? There's going to be inflammation. That's our number one line of defense, inflammation. What happens then is, if our body cannot overcome this issue, leads to sickness. And if the inflammation is left unchecked and becomes chronic, we end up with pain. Now, chronic pain is not fun. Did you know that more people live with chronic pain in the United States than with cancer, heart disease, and diabetes combined? Yes, chronic pain is their number one most common issue in the United States. More than 30% of Americans are living with some form of chronic or severe pain on a day-to-day basis. And that is not okay. Now, where does that come from? What does that have to do with our immune system and its function? Well, inflammation is our body's reaction to stress, whether that is a foreign invader, right? It alerts our body to respond to invaders. So let's talk about what happens in our body. This is exactly what our immune system does anytime any foreign invader comes into our body. Number one, the invader enters the body. Next, our immune system launches an attack. Number two, antibodies are produced based on what that first attack, those scouts brought back. What did that information bring back? Then what the immune system does, it takes that information and it creates antibodies produced to contain and defeat said invader, which leads to redness, swelling, heat, and discomfort as a result. Now, if we're talking about a virus like the flu, because we're entering flu season, there's going to be the flu virus going to be introduced into our body. If we have not seen that particular strain of flu, right, this cycle is going to happen. Right, we're going to, an attack is launched, scouts are launched to see, okay, what type of virus is it, brings back part of the virus, goes to the immune system, then the immune system is going to produce antibody to contain the invader, and we end up with maybe some headache, some fatigue, maybe some vomiting, some nausea, things like that, right, our symptoms of the flu, coughing, sneezing, sniffles. Now, but what happens if the invader comes into our body, but we already have the antibodies made? Do antibodies just freely roll around the bloodstream because we have them? No. So what happens is the invader enters our body, then the scouts are sent out and they code this and they say, oh, we know that. And we already have these antibodies made. Instead of having to produce them, we release those antibodies to go attack that invader. And antibodies, when we're not using them, are stored mostly in our bone marrow. So they are dormant until the invader is something that we need to pull those cells out, and we have to deploy that part of our immune system army. So that's how our body, and this happens like that. So why do we get symptoms? Why do we get sick? Well, what is the strength of our army at the point of attack by the invader? So how well are we caring for ourselves throughout the year? How much exercise are we getting? How much sunlight are we getting so our body can convert it into vitamin D3? How much water are we getting? How much oxygen are we getting? What type of food are we fueling our body with? What social relationships are we in? What are all these things? How are we fueling our body? Our body works best, the entirety of it works at its optimal levels when we have a significant amount of exercise per day or per week. We are ingesting healthy foods. We are taking in copious amounts of extra oxygen. We are fueling our body with the right food. We have positive coping mechanisms. We have a good social, emotional life. We have friends. We have conversations. We're not just sitting stuck behind a screen. All these things fuel our body's different armies. Well, our immune system is part of that. So we need to do all these things to help to fuel this, so this reaction happens quickly and efficiently. And there are times where you're combating something, you have no idea that there is an invader in your body. And there are other days where you feel like you got run over by a truck. So back yourself up about 30 to 60 days and see how you treated your body prior to that incident of feeling like you ran over by a truck will determine the output of that army or that immune system, right? So when we have persistent inflammation, it can contribute to the most chronic diseases and sicknesses. That's not fun, right? So now we have our invaders, and that all led to inflammation. So that's that redness, swelling, heat, pain as a result. Number 4, right? But if that is left unchecked and for some reason that inflammation is not dissipating from the body, it can contribute to chronic diseases and sickness. So The problem is chronic inflammation, right? Inflammation itself is not a problem. Inflammation itself is good. Chronic long-term inflammation is bad. So this is fun. We like to bring up this study. I do a lot. It's 1975. And the reason why I like to say when the study was done is 1975 was a few years from now. And the study is still relevant today, which means it is a reproducible study, and it means that there has not been a study done that can contradict these results. So we're using it as fact. So immune competence, okay, which is our body's ability to utilize our immune system, for the immune system to function properly. We have 3 different levels in this study. Level 1 is our orange block, right? Those are individuals with cancer or other serious diseases. So that's the lowest functioning immune system that we have, okay? Block number 2, which is our yellow block, is individuals not under chiropractic care, but do not have cancer or serious diseases, which shows a 200% greater immune competence than those with cancer or other serious diseases. But here's the fun stat. Individuals who received long-term chiropractic care without cancer or other serious diseases have a 400% greater immune competence or immune response than those with cancer or serious diseases, and a 200% greater immune competence or immune response than those individuals who are not under chiropractic care. So wouldn't you like a 200% advantage over your immune system function than others? I would hope so. And most of you watching this, if you're on our newsletter and you're watching this through our newsletter, most of you are already under chiropractic care. So you're in our green block of human beings. Some of us are new to our office and found us on YouTube. And so you may be in that middle block, that yellow block where you don't have cancer or any serious diseases, but you're still 200% less in our immune system function than those in the chiropractic group. So this is a really good time of year for us to be talking about this, because we're coming up into that flu season. So let's talk about the flu season, because I don't like flu season because it doesn't exist. It's fake, right? It's made up because somebody said, well, a lot of people get the flu around this time, so now it's the flu season because everybody's going to understand flu season. So we have to do all these things. Well, there's a couple of things that you should do, and it doesn't take you much time, but it takes you planning and preparation to remember to do it. What's happening around this time of year as the seasons are changing? Well, a couple of things. It's getting cooler, and it's not as light out. And we have holidays coming up. Those are our 3 big factors. So what's going on? It's cooler, which means, especially as we get later into October, November, not as many people are doing as many things outside. So less exercise, less sunlight. Number 2, our days are shorter. Again, less sunlight. Vitamin D3 is an amazing vitamin that our body needs and uses on a daily basis, and is used to help fortify that immune system. So we have less sunlight and colder weather, which means less activity, more sedentary decisions, okay? Less working out, less being outside, less getting together with people, more FaceTime and text messages and movies because of the weather. Number 3, holidays are coming up, which means loads and loads of extra processed foods, sugars, foods we don't normally eat, extra alcohol that we may not normally drink. All these things are the polar opposite of what our body needs to survive and thrive. Our body needs exercise, clean nutrition, sunlight, plenty of water, no alcohol, no processed foods, no toxins, and lots of over-oxygenation. So that's where the flu season comes from. We do it to ourselves. This time of the year, we start to hunker down and we aren't as active, and so our immune system isn't as strong and as fortified as it might have been in the summer and the late spring, as we're doing more things outside, we're doing more exercise, we're hanging out with people, there's sports and this and that. So is it the flu season, or is it a just a human being decision season. I think it's a unintelligent decision season of sickness that is not necessary. However, it makes drug companies a lot of money. So, factors we can do to control and build your immune system function, reduce pain, inflammation, and sickness. That sounds pretty good, right? Number one, top dog, best thing to do, get your spine and nervous system checked. Why? Well, if your nervous system regulates your immune system, remember we talked about that in the beginning, if your nervous system regulates your immune system, you should be getting your spine checked to make sure that nervous system is functioning optimally so it can optimally regulate the immune system. Number two, don't smoke and drink only in moderation. Number three, have a diet high in fruits and vegetables. Reduce your sugars and your processed food levels. I don't like the word diet because we go on a diet and it doesn't always work. Why? Because the minute the diet is done, we go back to our old crappy ways of eating processed foods and high sugar. And we're like, well, it didn't work. No, it worked. You just didn't invest in it as a lifestyle change and have cheat meals. Instead of your cheat meals being a salad, your cheat meals end up being, that pizza you have maybe once a month or whatever you're doing. Right now, most people's diet, their cheat meal is the healthiest meal that they've had because they're so ingrained in the instant gratification and quickness and ease of fast food and processed foods. They don't have to spend as much time prepping. It's not okay. So we need a lifestyle change that is high in fruits and vegetables and protein with reduced sugars and reduced processed foods. Next, we need to reduce stress. So how can we do that? Well, we can develop some positive coping mechanisms. There are some supplements that help reduce cortisol levels and adrenal gland overload. We can increase our exercise, whether that's bundling up and going for a walk or getting a treadmill or a Peloton inside, increase our exercise and have adequate sleep. So, our immune system is very smart. Our immune system is much quicker at reacting than our educated brains are. Our immune system knows more about us than we do. So we know what we need to do to fuel it. So instead of us trying to dictate what it's going to do and predict what season is going to cause what, why don't we just change our lifestyle and do the things that we need to do all year round so we can function optimally for the rest of our lives and do all the things we want to do for as long as we choose to do them, not as long as we can do them because we're in pain. Yeah, I know, I just unpacked a lot there. So let's dive into that, right? Your choices determine your output, not only today, but tomorrow and next month and next year and 10 years from now. So if you look at the choices you made 10 years ago, it should explain exactly why you are the way you are right now. And the choices you make right now and over the next month and year are going to dictate where you are in 10 years. So what are those lifestyle changes that you need to make, but you haven't really decided to dive in? Is it adding chiropractic care to your lifestyle change? Is it a lifestyle change in your nutrition habits? Is it a lifestyle change in adding exercise? Is it a lifestyle change in positive coping mechanisms? Are you saying, holy crap, I need all of those and I don't know where to start? Or are you like, okay, I can add one or two? Wherever you are, we're here to help. I will tell you that everybody needs to start where they're most comfortable. We need to build upon these blocks. We need to create motivation. We need to create positivity. So where I say to start is start with the one that is the easiest to change. And if you're watching this video right now, the easiest thing to change, if you've never been to a chiropractor, is to make an appointment. That's the easiest thing you can do to change. If you already go to a chiropractor, but you're not sure about your nutritional intake, you can go to your chiropractor or you can come to us and we can help you fortify those nutritional choices. If it's exercise, beautiful. Let's talk about what we can do to ease you into a very powerful, healthy, longevity-driven exercise routine. And if it's anything else, if it's water intake, if it's sleep, if it's coping mechanisms, we have other outlets that we can refer you to help you. Our job here is to help people be able to do what they want to do for as long as they choose to do it. Not have to stop something because it hurts or they can't. I want them to stop doing the things they love because they just don't love doing them anymore. And they're going to change and do something else. So, are you part of that group? Are you part of that crew? Do you need to really change to fortify your body for the years and decades to come so you can enjoy life the way it was designed? Or are you going to stick to those same patterns and you're going to slowly decay as life goes on until you get to the point where you can't do anything, and then you're going to call us and say, is it too late? And we're going to say, we hope not, but we wish you called us 20 years earlier. So which side of that coin are you going to be on? Our immune system is really important. Our immune system needs to be fed, it needs to be nourished, it needs to be taken care of so it can fight and do the things that it was designed to do, okay? You don't get sick because of a lack of prescriptions or medications or over-the-counter drug. You get sick because of a lack of care for the body. Care for your body. Love your body. It's the only one you get. It is the only suit you have been placed in for your entire life. Care for it, love it, nurture it, and it will repay you tenfold in joy and longevity and quality of life and excitement. So, jump on that train. We're here for you. Thank you. We love you. I love that you're able to tune in tonight. Please subscribe to our channel. Check out the other videos that we have on here. We love bringing truth to people, to our community, to our loved ones, to our friends, and to strangers who are not yet part of our community. Our job is to spread awareness and truth to help you make the best decision for you. We're not going to make any decisions for you. We want to give you what you need for you to do the decision making on your own. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Have a great one.